I want to be a combination of Hamlet and Don Quixote. Hamlet who always fought a lot but did nothing, and Don Quixote who just did things without thinking. It's a very difficult combination.
Practical sustainability. So, how you personally define?
In exercise paper, we have sort of normalized it that a coat has to be white, but white has a huge amount of resources that go 50,000 liters of water, for example, per ton to make it white.
So, what kind of resistance did you face early on, like from markets, from suppliers?
One of the most difficult things is when you go to a person and tell them that boss, all what you've been doing so far is wrong. So here is the product which will change your mind. Then they
Yeah.
very skeptic, like you don't know.
How you see AI becoming more and more relevant for your industry?
Yeah, it's very, very intimidating. You blink and there is a new innovation.
What kind of advice you would like to give to anyone who wanted to create something on sustainability industry?
Hire me. If there is business in the future that is going to be very, very prominent, like IT is now, sustainability is the future of IT as well.
Welcome to another episode of D2C Stories, the future of D2C, told through stories powered by experts. Our guest today is someone I would call a pioneer in practical sustainability. From Bangalore, he is redefining environmental stewardship, not as a concept, but as a reality business and consumer can practice every day. So, Cherish, welcome to D2C Stories. So, Cherish, before we get inside, can we start talking about your early life, like how you started and where you from, and then we can get into the sustainability part.
Sure, definitely. Taking a little segue from what you mentioned, I've been seeing D2C stories, the podcast, etc. The insight is, of course, very impressive. So, congratulations on your work so far, and I wish you all the best in the future as well.
Thank you, Cherish.
Very similar childhood and growing up experience like what the others were. The kid which was curious inside me was always active. And over a period of time, we saw the amount of trajectory. We saw the trajectory that took towards making a hopefully successful businessman in the near future. So curiosity was always there. That's a tenet of what my personality is. If I give it an analogy, think about the fact that when you see a kid and you see a kid seeing a Coke bottle with Mentos going in for the first time, there's this whiff of foam that comes out of it. Now, every kid looks at it with wonder. He looks at it with open eyes saying, wow, how did that happen? Right?
Yeah.
Now, that is the biggest dopamine rush a person can get. And it's all about dopamine even after we grow up. It's just that when we grow up, we think other things are cooler than the sense of wonder. We replace the sense of wonder with alcohol, adultery, waste talking, social media, doom scrolling, etc. But if you stick to the yeah, but if you stick to the wonder aspect, it will do a long way. So I kept that wonder aspect active right through my journey and started off in Bangalore, did basic college in and around, nothing specific with respect to technicalities of what I'm doing right now. But education, of course, helped me how to think, not necessarily what to think, because the pedagogy in India, of course, is not something which is to be proud of, to be very frank. You need to see outside your perspective to get a better hold around life. And that was my journey towards wherever I am so far.
Sure. Now, coming to sustainability, in India, we often hear that sustainability is very expensive or even impractical. Like we see the use of plastics nowadays, the mobile is plastic, everything is plastics. Yeah. So, but your journey proves that sustainability can be woven into everyday life. So, tell us, Cherish, inspired you to start?
Yeah, that's the practical sustainability, what I usually keep in my subject matter of all my emails. That's a term which we have coined. As you said, the association with premiumness around sustainability was always there. It's very difficult to take that away because it's something new, it's something exotic. Though sustainability, if we just change the words to the Indian context, it's very different. We have grown with it. But when there's a word which is attached to it, unfortunately, what happens is that you associate it with premiumness.
Yeah.
We wanted to break that myth. We wanted to bring up products which people can easily adapt to without the additional pressure of finances. So most of my product tenets are in the same manner, where a mass audience can adapt with an immediate decision. A few of my products, I'm sure, will be coming through in the couple of hours here. But a few of my products, one is paper and one is plastic. With a
Yeah.
combination of paper and plastic, both these things are ubiquitous, right? It's all over the place, omnipresent. With a combination of both of these, we'll be able to handle the entire spectrum of packaging, stationery, carry bags, food packaging, etc., etc. I mean, wherever the actual need is there, nothing which is esoteric. So we put all our efforts in creating the alternatives for daily use material, which can be having the same kind of a financial impact as what your otherwise material could be. Obviously, we face challenges. The version 1 to version 4 to wherever we are on various products can be different. But the effect or the driving force inside us to make sure that we get there was always important. 4.0 versions of various things is much better than the 1.0 version what we had.
Definitely, definitely. So, Cherish, I would like to know like why you are into sustainability. What is the story behind it?
There are two ways I would like to answer this question. One, of course, that I don't think personally that the world is a great place as of now. You know, no matter how much we keep talking about it and keep chest thumping or patting our backs, the moment we open the newspaper in the morning, we have a hard slap into reality.
Yeah.
That primarily happened because a lot of skilled people are there doing their job and not the educated ones who are doing their job. A clear distinction between skill and education is that a person who is extremely good at one particular thing is skilled. A surgeon is skilled, a scientist is skilled. But education is very different. You have in depth knowledge about a lot of things, right? So we wanted to sort of my idea was of course to bridge that gap between choices which are available as a lifestyle choice should be an educated choice and not just based out of skill. That's, of course, the philosophical side of it. But primarily, we saw that a good amount of action was happening around SDGs. After the Paris Agreement, every country started pledging that these are the kind of commitments that they do towards the SDGs. 15, 16, I think 2016 when it came out, people started taking it a little more seriously than before.
Yeah.
Um, India was just seeing the nascent side of that. And that was the time when greenwashing was prevalent. People gave a lot of material saying that this is a sustainable alternative, and that gets back to the premiumness tag, etc. We saw that, and we felt that if there is a business in the future that is going to be very, very prominent, like IT is now, sustainability will be the future in 20 years from now. Think about it in one more way. Developed countries spends more than 20% of their budget in defense, the air force, the armed forces, etc., to ensure that they are cutting edge technology. They spend more than 20% of their GDP, of their budget. We are protecting ourselves from neighbors geographically next to us. But a time will come very soon where we realize that the peril is from above and not from next to us. And we shift that 20% budget, at least 50% of that into sustainability, and
Yeah.
think sustainably. We have a 10% pool of that entire money, and that is big business to be in business with. And that got us into the sustainability field. And so far, it's been a gateway drug which got us into very high, exciting stuff.
So yeah, Cherish, as I see, you mention a lot about something called practical sustainability. So how you personally define, like if I use this a lot in while using like communicating with AI tools, like how you define practical sustainability to a 10-year-old.
Sure. Things which can be used without using your head, as simple as that. For example, let me get to one of the products which I have, the A4 size paper.
Yeah.
Right? The A4 size paper, we have sort of normalized it that A4 has to be white and it is sort of synonymous with white. But white has a huge amount of resources that goes behind it. And the natural pulp of a tree is brown, right? How do we get it to be white? We put bleach and we put a huge amount of bleach with water, 50,000 liters of water, for example, per ton to make it white. White
Okay.
is, in contrast, having a different color. So if you see the color difference, you can easily make out that there's a tinge of white which is taken out. How do I manage that? I have recycled paper concept wherein I go to different places, source my waste paper. There is already one generation of bleach which is existing in it. We utilize the same one and we process it. We take out the white. We tell them that gray paper is as good as white paper, and it is sustainable product. And in this case, it's practically sustainable because the cost of it is similar to what your otherwise product is without the functionality compromise. So with a combination of no functionality compromise and the cost being exactly the same, we fall into that practical sustainability aspect. So paper, for example, like this, multiple areas where I'm getting into, all of them have the same practical sustainability tenet. And that's how I define practical sustainability.
Wow, that's very well said. So, what where we started, like in India, we think that sustainability is becoming too expensive and almost impractical. By very simple example, you explained what is practical sustainability. That's very nice. So, what kind of resistance did you face early on, like from markets, from suppliers, or even from your customers when you take these products to the market? So, what kind of resistance you see in early, like right
Right.
now?
One of the most difficult things, Vineet, is to profess change.
Yeah,
When you go to a person and tell them that, boss, all what you've been doing so far is wrong, and here is a product which will change your mind, they look at
yeah,
it, very skeptic, like, "Ye kaun hai bhai, gyan dene wala" types, right? That automatically happens. We faced that for the first 4 years. We were actually seen as raddiwalas who will be
ah,
replacing a paper with a raddi paper. But that's obvious. That's very common because it's the mass mentality. A very few people have that niche thinking that this is a thing of the future and let us adapt to it. For the first 3 years, it was almost negligible, I would say, in terms of adaptation. The moment they saw the paper, and it was not in its best avatar also. Right now, the avatar, what we have, version 4 of regular paper, is very good. It's almost as good as white paper, but previously it was having impurities, it was having a lot of coarseness, etc. So it was not appreciated at all. Shell at one given point of time gave us a good breakthrough, just as a case study. We took a chance, and though they were very high on environmental stewardship, had an apprehension of changing the white to brown or gray in my case. We took a chance and we printed the entire audit reports in sustainable paper, which is ethical paper, my brand. We sent it to the audit. The moment they saw it, they rejected it because it was not normal, right? Having a white paper all this while, and suddenly things change. For a person who's an auditor and who's skilled in this case, he will not
yeah,
care about what else is happening. He'll just reject the whole thing.
yeah,
That whole bunch got rejected, and it was a big disappointment. That is when we said that let's use this as an opportunity. We had one line below saying, "We are friends with Planet Earth. We only use recycled paper," with a cute little optical trigger of the recycle logo. We reprinted the whole thing. We sent it. We took a chance. The moment they saw that, who has the guts to say, "No, I don't want a good planet"?
yeah, yeah,
And it went through. And then we realized that it is how we sell and not what we sell which makes the difference. We sell a commodity, we remain a contractor who is a vendor. We sell a service, we sell a concept, we initiate thought leadership, we initiate thought change. And at that point of time, we felt that the thought leadership and the effect of using solution based selling is a much better thing than going and telling, "I have another product for your existing paper."
yeah. That's very nice to know. Can you tell us a little more about ethical paper? Why it is called ethical paper? As we have some idea from your what you explained so far, but can you tell more details about that?
So
Yeah,
if you look at it, paper requires a huge amount of resource to manufacture. And usually most of the paper mills are situated in the river banks, wherein the wastewater gets flown back into the river after effluent treatments, but a whole lot of water is thrown back into the river. Now, bleached water into the river is not the best thing for us. And we have sort of conditioned ourselves in the past that it's industrial waste, things are getting better, the government is taking care of it. I'm sure they must be having a good product, a good service around it. But when we saw the craziness that is happening in terms of the waste of water which is going inside the rivers, it really is touching your heart. Those are seminal moments what we actually go through. We felt that there could be a better alternative. Having a paper which was number one recycled, no trees cut at any given point of time because paper otherwise has to have a cutting from a tree. We picked up raddis from different dustbins across the country. We made our pulp. We negated the concept of bleach completely. Then we had the similar kind of product coming out as white paper. We got the certifications based on it. We have a FSC certification, which is basically the Forest Stewardship Council, which tells that these are trees that are cut from responsible forestry. But in my case, if you look at it, there are no trees cut at all because there is no concept of recycled paper in the industry. There is no standardizations for it. But I still have an FSC certificate. I have a GRS certificate, which is basically the global recycle standard, usually associated with textile because that has more waste given out. But we were able to audit under the GRS platform, which quantifies the amount of resources we use. Let me give you this: 50,000 liters of water for white paper, 1,350 for my paper.
Oh, yeah.
97% approximately saving on water alone. And that's a big kicker. When we realize that there is so much of less resource or such less resource that can be used for making the same paper, all we need to change the perception of the mind saying that, hey, white paper is just white paper because we are aesthetically used to something from the past.
Yeah.
उसको एक चेंज कर देते हैं, इतना बचेगा. That was the beginning of Ethical Paper's journey. We felt that optical trigger can initiate behavioral change, and that is what we want, right? Behavioral change against everything what we see around us. We change your lens, we change the perspective of the world around us. So that's Ethical Paper. The pricing of it is similar of what your regular competition paper is. It can be a JK, it can be an ITC, PILD, and other regular A4 size paper, what you see. The pricing is similar to it. MRP is in the range of around 417 vis-a-vis the MRP of a JK, which is 420, 430. It is there's a 5% kind of a up and down depending on paper price, but in a season it is in the same likes. The industry buying price again comes in the range of around 200 to 250, depending on what their MOQs are, which is again ticking the checkbox of industry buying price of white paper. So I'm right there. It's just that you have to change your mind whether it is worth it or not to save the environment when you use your regular resources.
That's very nice. So that is actually practical sustainability. I can see that. So you are saying that you are getting ethical paper, which is environmentally much more better and at the same price. So
Yeah.
how organizations are reacting to this kind of product? Have you seen there is a change in mentality to take this up, to start using this kind of power? Is there is a complete resistance outside there? What is the behavior you see in the market?
Yeah. To a large extent, I faced resistance. To a large
Okay.
extent. Because probably I'm not talking to the right people, because when the people are talking on television, they talk really big, saying that sustainability is the only way forward. We should look forward to compromise on various EBITDAs, bottom lines, and keep sustainability as a priority. But I don't see percolating into actual practices. The sustainability gentleman whom I'm talking to in any company dwarfs in comparison to his power to procurement person in the same likes. When we talk big, we get to a place wherein we are able to present, but eventually it comes only to the price. But fortunately, since I am there in the price comparison segment, I have a better in-way. I handle the sustainability aspects very well with the knowledge which we have developed over the past, especially against tokenism and greenwashing. We take that knowledge and we tell them that, boss, it is as simple as the same price of what you have otherwise, just a little bit of delta which we can somehow manage, but let's go with it. So the
Sure.
resistance is definitely high in terms of adaptation, but that's a tightrope an entrepreneur will always walk. A conscious capitalist definitely will look at closing the sale rather than going out saying that I tried to change somebody's mind and I could not. Let's do it some other time. करने में तो बहुत हो सकता है, but unless the closing of sale happens, there is really no way
True.
forward, and that's my focus. Vineet.
Sure. Now we discuss ethical paper. Like, can we discuss more about EcoPact, what it is, and I guess it is something related to corporate gifting. Can you tell a little more about that?
Sure. So the EcoPact, or rather, I would give it the quasi name as of now. EcoPact has a brand which is signified by a jellyfish. I'm not sure if you have seen the brand logo, but it's a jellyfish, a green color jellyfish. The moment you see a green color jellyfish, there's a skeptic which gets started inside you as to what is the relevance to it. When you think about this, 650 million years ago, the first multi-celled organism was a jellyfish. And from
Okay.
then on till now, there have been billions of species who are multicellular, which has come and perished. The only thing which is lasting even now is that jellyfish.
Yeah.
There's a reason why that has lasted for 650 million years. That's because they have an understanding with nature, and that understanding is a pact, and hence the ecological pact, which is served as EcoPact.
Wow.
So there's a long way to this story, but then of course narratives sell more than the actual product, and we know that, Vineet. so
Definitely.
so this is one part of it. So we realize that while a person is opening his gift, may it be a corporate employee or a spouse or a family member or a friend, the time of opening the gift is very important. When you're experiencing an euphoria, saying what is in it, that anticipation, because most of the time the anticipation of pleasure is more pleasurable than the actual pleasure, we know that. So that time of anticipation when you're opening the box needs to be capitalized. We call it the unboxing experience, right?
Yeah.
So in a regular gift, how you unbox that regular gift is the concept behind EcoPact gifting. We call it unbox.green. That's the portal what you can find us as well. The unbox.green is basically a green way of unboxing your existing gift, but with something which is very exciting. For example, how nice it would be when you open it and there's a light that comes up, which is strategically placed. How nice it will be when you open it and there is a jack in the box kind of thing which pops up to you, something unexpected. How nice will it be if there is a music that is rolled out the moment you open it? Origami art, everything with creativity, only searched, only positioned on the unboxing. The gift inside remains the same. A lot of curation probably goes inside it with sustainable gifting, but unbox.green or EcoPack gifting is only about the unboxing experience. With that niche, I'm able to go to a client and say, boss, this is what is actually important, because that is where you're connecting with your consumer. Rest of it, once it is taken, he uses it and the regular branding will be there. Let's make the most of that 2 minutes of unboxing. And that's unbox.green. EcoPact is a line of stationery items, starting off from books, envelopes, pencils, anything around stationery, we have EcoPact. I'll give you one of the innovations which is there in EcoPact as such. A pencil is usually having graphite right through. 100% of it has a lead, which is graphite, what we call. When we were young, we used to go all the way till the last 1 inch, sharpening it, right?
Sure. Even the other way around also. We can
Exactly.
learn both of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. नहीं तो
Yeah.
dad will say क्या औलाद किसका है two types, right? So we used to go all the way. But do you see that happening now? We see
Not
it
anymore.
only coming like 3 to 4 times, and we just throw it because there's a land of plenty right now. We know that 50% of it and more is not used. So we negated the graphite from the last 50%.
Okay.
So you go 50% of it, you sharpen it, and the rest of it is anyway paper because you're anyway going to be throwing it out. We have reduced the cost of it because graphite is an integral part of the cost. We have reduced the part of the graphite by 50%. And
Okay.
that also tells that we are able to reduce the MRP by 10%. I don't change the MRP. I tell the consumer saying that, hey, you don't have a product, but you have a story, go use it. Right?
Sure.
So using that connect, people are able to relate to it, and all my stationary innovations have a similar kind of a tenet. When you use an EcoPact product, you'll be able to see a distinctive innovation in that.
So that's a very good way of looking into the gifting part. So when businesses adopt EcoPact, so are they adapting for branding or for the impact? Which one is creating more like value for the buyer?
The base is sustainability always.
Okay.
When a regular product is bought and suddenly a sustainable product is given, the brown base, the minimalism, all those things are attractive. But we work on the minimalism aspect and give the brand the output what it requires. We use sustainability as a conduit for the brand ideology to be passed on to the consumer. So it's a combination of both in this case.
Sure, sure. And can you give some example, like what kind of experience, what kind of responses you have got from your clients on that?
Yeah. I mean, we've had a lot of people unboxing it and putting it on television and putting it on their own, social media reels, etc. And that's
Yeah,
the kind of an organic growth which you'll always require, right? People are so used to just opening a box. We need the box lasts for 5 minutes maximum. You know that. एक बार निकाला और फेंक दिया. After
yeah,
that,
yeah.
it's only the product which makes a difference. So much of waste for that 5 minutes, we want to optimize it. We want to keep the minimalism aspect of it and we keep the wow element active. And you can demand a price after that. Once you are able to
Yeah.
get to a consumer's head saying that boss तेरे को मैं wow दे रहा हूँ, it doesn't matter where it comes from, so you'll be able to get that price. So using that, a lot of people have given me good testimonials, and there's a good amount of unboxing videos also available on, I guess, the Instagram and regular social media channels about Instagram, about EcoPact ungifting boxes in this case.
So you are making sustainability not only practicable and functional, you are also making it desirable. That's lovely.
Swag दे रहा हूँ sir, swag. Because think
Yeah,
about it, sustainability always lacked swag. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
something like a responsibility थोप दिया ना आपके ऊपर, that
Right.
kind of stuff. But when you add a layer of euphemism and give a narrative of excitement to it,
Hmm.
and say that what's adapting to this, you make it look cooler than what you already are. You're there.
So I'm already in love with both of your products. Now let's talk about the third one, BrownKind. What it is all about?
Sometime back, 2018, Government of India classified bamboo as a grass and not a tree.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of difference. Bamboo is one of the best for carbon sequestration. Carbon sequestration is a term which I have to explain, wherein amount of carbon taken out from the atmosphere and converting into wood.
Okay.
That's how we get wood, right? A particular kind of a bamboo, Bhima bamboo, which is available in the northeast, grows up to 2.5 feet every week.
Every week.
Every week, 2.5 feet. That
Oh,
means so much of carbon has been taken out from the atmosphere and has been locked inside that wood, because CO2, carbon
yeah.
comes in, oxygen goes out, right? That's how the entire thing works. So carbon is in the wood format in such a rapid pace that it is in 1 week 2.5 feet. Compare this to a normal tree. It takes a year for it to have the same kind of sequestration. So you are using tissues, and the fiber which comes out of bamboo is even better than the actual white color tissue what we otherwise get. So we thought we have the advantage of converting the bamboo fiber into tissues, because the more you use, the better it is for the environment. The more we cut. The narrative fit ho gaya mera,
Yeah.
right? If I go to a sustainable guy and say, boss, use tissues, that is against my philosophy. But if you use bamboo tissues, that's smooth sailing, because the more you use, the better it is for the environment. Now, the bamboo tissues has much better quality than your regular recycled tissues or your white color tissues, which are virgin. The long fibers make it easy for absorption of water, handling it on the hands, lasting it longer, etc. So we have this case study based business. I love giving challenges to my clients, not to prove them wrong, but to prove myself right more than anything else. Biocon and other clients whom we have, they had a challenge of 1,23,000 rupees going out as per month ka expense for tissue papers in one floor, one
Oh,
matrix.
okay.
1,23,000, one floor, itna cost hai. Now, my product is around 10 to 15% more expensive. So they didn't want to have any kind of bottom line change. If you're able to give it to me at this price, I don't mind giving you an opportunity. But I didn't
Yeah.
want to give it, right? I ensured that I gave them a challenge. Give me a choice of putting a poster or narrative next to the places where your dispensing is happening. I put a poster because the color of it is different. If you look at white color tissue vis-a-vis
Yeah.
a brown color or yellow
Brown
color,
color.
there is already an optical trigger. Kuch to different hai. Next to it, if you have a narrative which is very quirky, in my case, I used chi thu, not for you, but for the person who took four instead of two.
Oh,
Quirky,
yeah.
it gets
Yeah.
to you, and it
Right.
says that boss, it's not for you, but it's for the other guy, so it manages. 20% of them followed this and they started using less, even though they paid me more.
Yeah.
10% more SKU wise, the total output was 1,18,000. 5,000 का मैंने पैसे बचाया. And that is where practical sustainability comes in. You have your human ingenuity come in. You convince the team that there is scope in just not reducing cost but creating an impact. And with that combination, you have a winner. In
Yeah.
BrownKind, immediate no go, lowest hanging fruit in the tree in this case. So with BrownKind, we are also into innovation. I mean, we are as curiosity goes. I'm called the peanut guy. Can I take a minute to have a segue in
Sure,
terms of what
sure,
peanut
sure.
guy? Okay.
Yeah.
जितना भी आप स्वाद डाल लो, जब तक मुंह में मूंगफली ना मजा नहीं आता,
True.
right? So in
Yeah.
the same case, unless there's innovation in your everyday projects, मजा नहीं आता. So I look for what is the मूंगफली you have in your product line. In this case, my Moongfali is that I have started working on a technology called micellar tech. Micellar technology is wherein you are able to embed nano packets of liquid infusing inside tissue paper. And this
Okay.
liquid can carry any desirable liquid of your choice. I choose moisturizer, I choose fragrance, I choose stain remover, I choose odor remover. And how it gets activated with a little bit of force, which is anyway used when you use it against your face. So when you use your regular tissue vis-a-vis my tissue, there's a moisturizer inside that. There's a fragrance inside it. And when you
Okay.
use that particular tissue against any other product, there is a definite wow.
Yeah.
बॉस ये
Yeah.
क्या है बॉस ये क्या है ये तो बढ़िया
So
है
when you say that your product is 10% expensive, so that 10% expensive including this moisturizer and this fragrance already in the tissue.
between you and me the cost is 10% expensive but I sell it at 50% expensive
Oh,
for this
okay.
variant, right?
Yeah.
Because human ingenuity, right? This is
Yeah. Yeah.
R&D.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
patented research products which is not there out there in the market. So we are in a WIP as of now. We have done some test marketing and clients love the product. So the
Yeah.
bamboo, BrownKind bamboo, what we have, will have an immediate variant of these kind of things. And this is the peanut in your product. So I keep
Yeah.
searching for my peanuts in my products.
So with
Sorry.
Brown, yeah, you have other products also along with tissue.
No,
Just
primarily
tissue.
tissues. The entire
Okay.
range of around 7 SKUs, what we have. We have kitchen towels, we have the GRT rolls, like how you see in airports. There is no individual pulls. There is always a roll which you pull out and it has a perforation, right? So
Yeah.
those are GRT, HRT, GRT, different SKUs for the entire segment wherever tissues is being used.
So when we use bamboo in this kind of product, how it impacts the farmer? Does the farmer get a cut of it? How that works?
Another segue I would like to take, Vineet. We've also introduced something called social paper. A social
So
paper,
yeah.
like ethical paper, has influx of the social angle in the paper, not just the environmental angle. As of now, the pulp what we buy is primarily contracted. I give a contract to one person. He gets the contracted pulp from one place and gives it to me. I convert that paper into regular stuff. What if I'm able to get to multiple waste pickers across the country, associations, and I tell them I buy directly from you?
Yeah.
You are getting it, you're giving the contractor at around 12 rupees to 14 rupees per kg. आपको तो पता होगा, if you have a raddiwala coming into your house,
Yeah.
14 to 18 rupees is what you will get for your 1 kg of newspaper or magazines. By the time it reaches the contractor, it adds another 30%, etc. And by the time I buy it, it is much, much more. That contractor's money, I can give it back to the raddiwala, to the waste picker. If he's taking back 130 rupees a day, after this social paper initiative, he'll be taking back 200 rupees a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
The contractor makes less money, but really, who cares? He's been making money right through the time.
It's just a middleman.
Yeah, we're just a middleman. It's an easy way to cut off the middleman. So
Yeah.
20% of my pulp, for example, comes from the social aspect. And I call it the social paper certification. And this brand, when it goes out to the person who is buying it, can have the happiness and can have the satisfaction that the decision which I've made to use this particular paper, I not only save the environment, but hey, I'm also helping the ESG, the S in the ESG in this case. So this again is a tenet right through in my BrownKind as well. The amount of harvests which go through the bamboo is much more than the amount of harvests which go through forests which go for a longer time of growth. So the human involvement of harvests is much higher in a bamboo because
Mhm.
if it grows for 2.5 feet in a week, even an average of 1 feet, within a month you have the bamboo waiting to be cut out, and that's more
Yeah.
pulp. That means that's more people. There's labor
Yeah.
involved. So the labor gets more money than what otherwise the paper would. So
More product.
multiple
Yeah.
check box and all the check boxes.
Yeah. 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 So you said something very interesting. Social paper. Can you tell a little more how this works? How this complete ecosystem works?
Sure. So we have tie-ups with different associations. These associations are representing the waste picker associations across the country. In fact,
Okay.
there's this gentleman whom I know pretty well, Hasidudada in Bangalore. They have a
Okay.
waste pickers association. They work very closely with the governance and the lifestyle and Atma Samman of all these waste pickers. We've tied up with them, and in fact, it is their idea, the social paper. What they do is they give me the pulp. I don't know as to how that pulp is got, as long as I give them the preconditions of how the pulp should be, how the waste should be. So they segregate it in their own way. They give it to me. The segregated waste then goes along with my contracted waste on a 20-80 kind of a ratio, 80% contracted pulp and 20% waste, which is there from the Waste Pickers Association. I'm wanting to get it to a 50-50 in the near future. But right now, I can't depend completely on one source. So contract source is always there for me. Business continuity के हिसाब से. So 80-20K combination mein, we are able to make a final product which is as good as regular paper. And this paper can be used for paper bags, brown paper. आपका जो craft paper है, typically used for packaging of cartons, paper bags, etc. All of this can have this as a concept. And I feel these are the kind of narratives which is required to make that additional money and impact in the world, right?
Sure. Yeah. That's so nice to know more about that. Now let's talk about a little about Paprap. So what it is and how it is going to replace our lovely bubble wrap, which we love to like it was a lovely time here to burst all the single bubble. So
Yeah.
how what is Paprap and how it is going to replace bubble wrap?
In fact, I was featured in one of those reality shows called Lion's Den, Vineet. I would love to share that link as well later. Like a Shark Tank for India, it is now on DD Waves and it will soon come on Geo Hotstar as well. So this was my drama act. I went and gave all the judges a piece of bubble wrap. And the moment I turned back and walked towards my place, they started bursting it. And it
Yeah.
was so obvious that's the only thing they will do. I sort of capitalized on that. So I want to make bubble wrap and any kind of packaging item which is carton based a complete relic. Now, when we went to a e-commerce fulfillment center, we saw the amount of waste that is being generated with respect to secondary cartons beneath. People send their material, outside suppliers send their material into an e-commerce house in cartons. The moment they take out the mono cartons from inside, the cartons go for a waste.
Right. Yeah.
5 to 8 tons on an average every day, every fulfillment center. That entire 5 to 8 tons goes inside the recycling chain. It goes into depulping, de-inking, enough of labor, transport, power, etc., and it comes back to them the same way they threw it, just in
Yeah.
different forms. Think about it.
Right.
Intelligence is required there. So I have a machine. Basically, what it does is in the fulfillment center, you put the old cartons inside my machine. It cuts it into small hexagonal pieces, 1 inch hexagonal pieces. These hexagonal pieces are then sandwiched between two layers of paper, equidistant. The impact protection, if you consider this as a composite structure which can wrap any kind of an object, the impact protection is coming from the heart of the carton because those cartons are cut into small pieces and it takes the impact. There's a gap in between and it can still take the impact because most of it is taken by the impact of the cartons inside.
Sure.
The gap in the impact is giving me pliability. It's giving me the flexibility to wrap it around any kind of an object, which a carton cannot. So the impact protection of a carton and the usability of a wrap. We realized that 30% of e-commerce packages is having empty space. You have
Yeah.
noticed it. When you order some lamp or let's take a moisturizer or anything from e-commerce, कितना रहता है? उसका packing इतना
Yeah.
रहता है.
Yeah. Right.
Now, in this case, we can have the impact protection of the carton and we can wrap that around this product because it also has a mono carton, right?
Yeah.
Initial stress तो थोड़ा mono carton ले लेता है. उसके ऊपर का stress this Paprap can take. This is the
Okay.
hexagonal piece
Yeah.
and this is the carton wrap. So I
Yeah.
can fly with it. I can use this and I can fold it however I want to. So this goes and wraps around any kind of a product and we're pretty much sorted. A
Oh.
global potential beneath. I am fortunately having the patent for this, a conscious capitalist, so everything I do, I have a patent which is very clear onto it. The very concept of upcycling the material and giving me a 30% kind of betterment in my bottom line, including logistics optimization. This combination of all these three is a winner combo. So
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I've got some soft capital commitment and I'm looking at enough and more investors who are there looking at this idea. We would like to be positioned more than a unicorn in this case. That's a startup which is exclusively done. I have colleagues who are running it. One of my colleagues, Cherish Tota, my nephew itself, he's come down from Canada and he sees amazing potential in this to make it a global brand. So we would like to be positioned not as a unicorn in the spectrum of startups that are there around. We'd like to be positioned as a zebra. A
Sure.
zebra, something which is looking different and it creates that inquisitiveness. Black and white stripes is not something which is normal. We are not normal people. And the difference what we create is the difference what we give. So we would like to be positioned as a zebra, which goes against the mythical character of a unicorn. That's why we are. So Paprap is something really big which is being planned and it is soon going to be seeing the light of day, Vineet.
So as you mentioned, these challenges are available, like these are global challenges which you are solving. So right now you are working for India only, or you're planning for outside India, like sourcing outside India also, number one. And number two is what kind of competitions or what kind of similar products are already there globally, if not in India?
Yeah. You're talking in terms of Paprap alone or the rest
Yeah.
of the product line as well?
Paprap, even the brown tissues you
Brown
mentioned,
kind,
all
yeah,
those,
yeah.
yeah, all those
So
products.
ethical paper, if you look at it, we are the first, though there are others who claim they are. I
Yeah.
have written proof that we are the first recycled paper in the country, which is unbleached, because there were
Oh,
bleached recycled papers that were available. But as a brand, we are the oldest, or rather, we are the first. We have a patent for the color gray. Nobody else can manufacture gray colored copier paper. And the
wow.
vision, of course, is that in the next 5 years, when recycled paper become a norm, you go inside a store and instead of asking for recycled paper, you ask for ethical paper. So that means that there's a category association rather than just a brand creation. Like how Xerox is now synonymous with copier.
Yeah, yeah,
In the same way, ethical paper can be synonymous with recycled paper.
yeah.
Is a global potential. Nobody else in the country started off. I mean, there are a couple of them in the country now, but in the world over, there are no brands which has the same kind of an ideology. And for me, it is all as simple as selling the brand. The rest of it, in terms of product mix, can be manufactured anywhere. We are expanding. We have a representation in UAE as of now. We have some passionate individuals driving the movement because of the community we are trying to create, right? It's just not followers. People who understand the community take much more ownership than just followers who are just saying likes all the time. So it is
Sure.
available in UAE as well. And we are constantly looking at partners who will be able to realize this thought leadership vision and take it to places where it matters.
Oh, definitely. Again, coming to business and market strategy, I see that the product started B2B. So that's a master stroke because you can scale like anything when you do B2B. So what is your long-term strategy? Are you looking for B2C also in near future, and how you plan to action that?
Yes, yes, of course. Credibility through B2B was important for us
Yeah.
before we get to B2C. Because right now, let me put it this way, we are learning to run as the tiger is chasing us. Sustainability is a completely new field for many of us. We
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
don't know what the future, there's no SOP in sustainability. We create
Right.
the SOP. That's how the regenerative business came about. So in this case, we have been validated by the B2B over the
Mm.
years with organic learning. Now we can enter the B2C level very fast with the right kind of a GTM and product mix. We'll be able to enter the B2C very fast. If I had chosen the other way around, if I had chosen B2C to go with,
Mm.
and I don't have an immediate connect with all of the consumers, right? I mean, when I
Right.
speak to somebody in the B2B, I speak to them one on one, saying that even if something goes wrong, sir, give me another chance, I'll make it better. That is
Sure.
possible in B2B. But in B2C, it's not possible. Once you
True.
bond, you have a very bad remorse after that. So I chose the B2B line, and then I'm ripe enough to come into the B2B and make a difference. And we have good brands, we have good narratives around the brands for each and every product lines. So we're good to go on the B2B segment now, and especially in the D2C, which I'm looking forward post this call to have your strategies inside as well.
Sure, sure, definitely. So B2B gives you number and D2C gives you behavior changes. Yeah, definitely.
Credibility is
Now,
very
now,
important, right? I mean, that's
uh,
that's something which we have got now, and we move forward.
yeah, right, right, right. D2C also gives you visibility. Like more and more people get to know your brand. So those things are also with D2 once you get into that. Yeah,
मेरा prime business क्या पता है sir? It's not even B2B, it's not even B2C, it's B2G,
B2G.
right? Yeah, government ek baar aa gaya, it's like
Yeah.
a good amount of my bottom line is taken care of. Why wouldn't a person want to use this paper against a white paper? If I tell them about sustainability goals, ye, wo, doomsday predictions, I give them all that. Why wouldn't I want it? I only am them against the existing contractor, and that's the difficult part to overcome, you know that.
Definitely, definitely. So now coming to like when we compare to sustainability in India and globally, so how you see the policies are different and maybe being misused in India by these industries. Then in other countries, they are similar on the same lines. Like as you said, that a lot of water, a lot of bleach is being used, wasted. To create white paper. So this challenges, this procedure, this policies remain same outside India also.
Yeah, yeah. To a large extent, if you take the heat map of sustainability across the world, we are way
Yeah.
down beneath. We are way down. Germany, Europe, Australia, even USA, though we know that there is enough and more craziness that is happening in the USA as of now, they still believe
Yeah.
that the
Right.
climate change as a concept is something which is real, right? So Europe is very high on it. India is adapting to it. To a large extent, people tell me you don't belong here and you go to another place, there'll be better market. I'm looking at that opportunity as well, but I definitely want to do the change where I am. And most of my products have that potential to not just create change here, but have a global presence in the similar likes.
Yeah. So now being a tech company, I do discuss a lot about technology and AI. So now coming to your business. So how has technology enabled you so far? Like as of now in production, distribution, or even education, like educating your customers about all the stories, how technology has helped you and what are the bottlenecks you see here?
Science is the way to go, right? When you're having data driven material right in front, you extrapolate whatever data you have got, you superimpose it with the kind of technologies which are cutting edge now, and you'll be able to get amazing products out. Micellar tech, where I'm infusing nano packets of liquid inside tissues, is a product of technology. The
Yeah.
same thing goes with another brand which I'm pursuing, Earthen Agri. I'm sure it is there as a part of our thing. Earthen
Right. Yeah.
Agri is Earthen Agri is a range of mulch sheets that are used for agriculture. Agriculture is one of the prime bread earners for the country and the world, right? Without agriculture, we are nowhere. The seed production companies, to a large extent, use something called mulch sheets that are spread across the growing area. If you travel across the village areas, you'll be able to see a black sheet which is there on the growing bed where vegetables are grown or flowers are grown, etc. There's a black sheet that is there. Now, that black sheet has always been plastic.
Yeah.
Imagine the sun hitting that particular plastic continuously for 4 months. There's degradation in the micro level that happens. That means that microplastics are going inside the soil right through the time. Those microplastics are unfortunately taken in by the root system of the plant, thinking it's nutrition. It sees a foreign object, it sees that it is nutrition, it drives it inside. It realizes soon that it is not nutrition, it's a harmful object, it's not able to suck anything out of it. It tries to get rid of it. Once it's inside a tree, there is no other place it gets rid except for the seed.
Yeah.
And the seed is what we so proudly eat. We consume that seed very, very fast. So every day when we are consuming seed based material, which is almost everything, we are consuming microplastics. In
True.
my case, Earthen Agri is a brand which we have collaborated with other thought leaders in the same likes, wherein we have a product which the mulch sheet is number one, 180-day home compostable. That means in 180 days, you will see 100% degradation, 100% decomposition. Plus, when it degrades, you don't have any microplastics going into the soil. Now, that's a very, very big claim. Very, very big claim. There is a cost delta to it because obviously it's work in progress. The market is not ripe enough to give that kind of a huge volume. We are testing the markets. We have done some 15 to 18 very successful trials of mulch right across the country. And the agriculture industry is loving the product because how exciting it is for a CEO of, let's take a Bayer or BASF, any seed production company, to get on stage and say, my seed does not have microplastics. Having a vision of 15 years, 20 years down the line, if we continue plastic the way we are doing on the mulch, the land is not going to be arable at all. So nipping
Right.
the bud at that point of time is important, and that hence Earthen Agri. which has this kind of a total output in this case.
How this product is made up of?
So usually plastic is made from polymerizing a molecule in the petrochemical spectrum of the crude oil. If you look at crude oil,
Right.
you get into distillation, you take out the diesel, petrol, aviation fuel, etc. There is a spectrum of petrochemicals that you come across. In that petrochemical spectrum, you take out PP, which is polypropylene, PVC, you take out LDPE, which is low density polyethylene, etc. But in the same spectrum, there are also molecules that have an intrinsic capability of decomposability. It's called PBAT, PLA, PBAT, etc., which has this quality of decomposing, unlike the PET, etc. Because
Okay.
plastic has always been the linear type, right? You make it and you forget it. It's a design failure. We know that plastic is a design failure. So in this case, the later end of the spectrum has something called PBAT.
Yeah.
PBAT is a polybutyl adipate terephthalate. It's one molecule which has a quality of decomposition. We have polymerized using that particular PBAT molecule. So it has a decomposition life cycle of around 180 days, which again comes into the ISO 17088 norms. The government gives a norm saying that if you're claiming it to be 100% decomposable, then it has to come into the 17088 ISO norms. And we have those certifications in place as well.
Sure.
Another exciting thing here is that one, of course, there is no microplastics which go into it, but the otherwise, to increase the bulk of it, for example, the polymer is like 90%. The other 10% we can fill in any kind of rubbish we want, any kind of a rubbish, just for filler's sake. So we have got a new technology wherein we have converted soil into nano elements, and we're able to infuse soil as the filler inside this mulch itself. So there's another story of soil going back into the earth when using this mulch. So
Sure.
combination of multiple USPs like that make the difference. And again, those are my peanuts in this case.
Yeah, true. Those are the peanuts, right? So now coming back to tech, what is your relationship with AI right now? Like, and how you see AI becoming more and more relevant for your industry?
Frankly very intimidating for me. I am not of the old school, I would say, but AI is very, very intimidating. The kind of changes that happen in the quickest of time, you blink and there is a new innovation, right? There's this concept called Rocco's basilisk, Vineet. I'm not sure if the listeners would be aware of it, but I'll just take a minute to explain this. Rocco's basilisk is a mythical creature. We are comparing AI to this Rocco's basilisk, wherein we claim that if you're not kind to AI now, AI will remember who the people who are not kind and will take its revenge when it gets its sentience.
Okay,
Okay.
okay.
So that sort of changes perspective, right? Next time you write a prompt in ChatGPT, you will say, please, can you do this after a
Yeah,
person listens to this, right? It sort of changes mindsets. So I'm very intimidated with AI. I typically use it for creating some content and creating and augmenting my outputs, but not as the base of my outputs. Because once you start depending on it, we have seen multiple graphs of people who are using ChatGPT brain vis-a-vis a regular brain, right? I don't want that to happen to me, Vinith. So I'm not indulging myself completely inside AI, but I know that the potential is there. I know that there's enough and more action that is happening around it, and people are laughing all the way to the bank with AI infused content, right? But I'm embracing it slowly but carefully at the same time.
definitely,
My
definitely.
work, because we also have a marketplace which is in the pipeline, because multiple things we are doing with it. So my brother, of course, we started off with a phygital network. It's called Giant. It's a phygital network wherein sustainable products, what we prepare and other people prepare, will have to have a combination of digital and physical experience. You have to have somebody to sell you the product. We
Right.
are losing out on that stuff. We are getting too used to the fact of a quick commerce of 5 minutes idhar aa jata hai. For commodities, it is okay, but for stuff which is making a difference, you need a person to tell you the product differentiators. So we are making a digital environment right across the country, and these kind of products will be there in this very soon on that plan.
So, looking into how AI is growing, so what are the challenges you want that to be taken care of by AI in the coming future in your industry, which is relevant to industry? Like certain challenges you want that AI should be able to. Right now, it is difficult to solve, but AI should be able to take care of in future.
Like how the COVID vaccine was created, right? I mean, if you actually go back to that point where it was created, it took less than an hour apparently for AI to create the right kind of combination for the COVID vaccine. It was not
Right.
prepared by any human. It was completely machine. So in the same manner, I would like to use AI to reduce my effort of human efforts in the past, what has happened in the past. And that's the only way I would look at it. If I'm going through 25 iterations to come with a new product, if AI can help me with theoretical inputs of why I should take out the 25 and keep just three for practical usage, that is the kind of an input what AI should give me. In this particular case, let's look at it that in my micellar tech itself, if I'm infusing nanoparticles of fragrances inside my tissues, which combination of fragrances will be nice and which I should not take efforts and resources in investing in the first place? Those are the kind of inputs I'd like to have from AI.
Sure, sure. Now, coming to this green tech in the future, scaling in the future, many founders hesitate to go green because it's high cost, because that is a perceived thing. Like if you are going green or sustainability, it is going to become very expensive. But your journey and your product shows that sustainability can be conventional product if positioned right, which is also practical, and as we discussed, it is also desirable. What kind of advice you would like to give to anyone who believe on sustainability and wanted to create something on sustainability industry? So what will your advice to him?
So, two-word advice, Vineet: hire me. As a consultant who'll be able to come and figure out where are the places where you can actually make a difference and what kind
Yeah,
of impact which you can create with the right curated resources which you already have. Because it's just not a overnight thing. It takes effort. It takes effort to, number one, change the perception of people. It's the biggest challenge, irrespective of
yeah,
however good you think the product is. Unless a person is taking out his bias, we'll never be able to penetrate through that ossification that has happened over the indoctrination in the past
yeah,
time. Partners who will be able to guide organizations on the way, just not with bottom line in priority, but a triple P bottom line into priority is what matters. The triple P bottom line, of course, is first the profit, second P is the people who work for you, and the third P is the planet who everybody are in. So unless you have the triple P bottom line, the regular bottom line really doesn't make a difference, especially for people who are claiming that their management is given a ethos towards sustainability and regenerative thinking.
sure. Now, coming to this industry, what do you think as the hardest challenge in scaling regenerative products in India?
Regenerative itself is a very exciting word. It's beyond sustainability, right?
Yeah,
I just like to take another segue on regenerative thinking and business. From the industrial revolution, early 1800s, till until recently, we were having the value extract paradigm. When we see a resource, we say about how much of value we can extract from it.
true. Yeah,
Over a period of time, things like HR, ERP, CRM, employee wellness, better offices, all those things came about very slowly over a period of time. All of them to affect only the bottom line. Now, think about it this way: sustainability came in, wherein they said that, boss, when you're extracting value, stop exploiting nature. That is the main thing. Regenerative is different. Let me give you an analogy on this. Assume that we are in a party, late night party in an apartment. There's enough and more action happening for the first 2, 3 hours. People are having a great time. But at one given point of time, there's a fight that breaks open in the balcony. There's a fire in the bathroom. People are throwing up in the bedroom. Things we have experienced, right? A sustainability professional responsibly will take an Uber and get back home. But a regenerative professional will stay back and correct the mess that has happened, right? And we want to be the regenerative people who are able to make that difference. And in regenerative, when we're getting this idea itself into the people, that's a big thought. And we always mention that sustainability lacks swag, right? Regenerative is cool from the beginning. So anything which is sustainable can be replaced with regenerative. And if we're able to use the right narratives and the right kind of products around regenerative business, we are a winner.
true.
So the country is ripe, the country is waiting for adapting regenerative practices. We just have to have the right conduits to get there, Vineet.
And then what are the hardest challenge to scaling regenerative products?
Finance is definitely one. Investment in regenerative businesses is, though is though something which is happening now, it is not legacy businesses, right? So investments that is coming in the regenerative space has just started off. So more money coming in will involve more thought leadership and better people to drive the sustainability and regenerative business up ahead. Definitely government involvement. My product, even though it is biodegradable and has all the eco-friendly features, I'm still like paying 18% GST. It is disheartening, but we don't have a voice to even talk to the administration at this point of time saying, why this contradiction? How do we reconcile these contradictions, right? Of the claim and what is happening otherwise. So the state involvement in ensuring sustainability becomes a thing of a real thing is very important.
Yeah, true. So, as you said that we need more money and more people to come into this industry. What will be your advice to young student from like fresh out of college? Why should he come to this industry? Why should he be focusing into regenerative products?
To appeal to many of them, the first thing is money. First thing is money. Because anyone who's looking at using sustainability as a career choice, more than the intrinsic altruistic behavior which is there inside you of making a better planet, you keep all that to the side. Paisa to bahut hai. There's enough and more money. पैसा बहुत है. I just gave you the analogy of that 10% or I mean 50% of the defense budget, if it comes into sustainability as an industry, there's enough and more money. And everybody's moving towards sustainability and regenerative business. A human ingenuity in converting regular opportunities into money making opportunities is where entrepreneurs should have. And the young of India has that in umpteen numbers. They're hungry, right? I mean, you've seen a lot of them. Obviously, you've seen a schism that has happened over the past few years. The Gen Z also are as adaptive and careful. They're becoming intelligent customers. You can't faff your way right through with everybody. There is a section of them who you can sell anything, right? But there is a section of them who ask the right kind of questions. When your products are there to cater to those people who ask those anal questions, you're sorted. The rest of them are taken care by itself. So the people coming in only with their ingenuity will be able to transform unborn businesses, I would say. What was Facebook before 20 years? What was Meta or any other companies which are going to the top 20 years before? If you get into the industry now and create products and create services which is globally accepted, that is what we want. In 20 years down the line, you will know that you made a good choice, and that's the only advice I have for people who are getting into the industry.
I am an entrepreneur and I keep creating new things. Okay. I run multiple businesses. So right now, all I'm thinking is what can I build from this industry so that I can also tap into the opportunity.
पहला सर आपका जो स्टेशनरी है ना वो चेंज
Yeah,
कीजिए एथिकल पेपर पे
definitely,
बस.
definitely, definitely. Now we are coming to the end of this podcast. Tell me, like when we look at 2030, what does your green vision for India look like?
My website has the synopsis of this whole thing, and the website name is thefuture.green. Right? We envision a green future. And that's only possible if we have our efforts together now. If we are complacent enough to remain the way we were, we will never get a green future. If you remain in the middle and not take sides, we will never have a green future. Dante Alighieri, I remember in his Inferno, one of his works, mentioned that there's a special place in hell for people who maintain neutrality in the times of moral crisis.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah, yeah.
So people who say that boss मैं ना इधर का हूँ मैं ना उधर का हूँ I'm okay bro I'm there, you know, I'll just be a part of what the first mover advantage. I don't want to do that. No, you have to get into a detailing of why things are good, why things are bad, and adapt to the sustainable practices. Unless you do that, the future is not green. The present might be green, the future is not green.
Right.
It's again saying that Elon Musk ka thing now. Elon Musk has given enough and more resources to ensure that Mars becomes habitable, right? Yes, great. I give all the support. I give all my wishes to that thought. But when you come back from Mars, I want to ensure that the Earth is still habitable.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have that. We have not reached a point where things are totally out of control. It's just changing our mind in terms of cutting off what things which are not required, and we'll anyway have a good planet after that.
Sure. Yeah. That's lovely thought. When we were discussing D2C, like as you said, you're planning to go D2C very soon. So, what are the few challenges you see when taking to your business from B2B to D2C? What are the few challenges you need to work on that?
Most of them are muzzle problems. I mean, there are two types of problems for any kind of a situation. One is a height and one is a muzzle. Once you have the height, you really don't have to work much on the height. There's no other way you can get height, right? But a muzzle, you can go to the gym and work out. So most of the problems, what I face in terms of going to a D2C is muzzle problems. There are enough and more strategies that are available. I look at case studies and I learn from them. And I have consultants, I have advisors who understand what my strengths and weaknesses are and advise me accordingly. Again, I want to be a combination of Hamlet and Don Quixote. Hamlet, who always thought a lot but did nothing, and Don Quixote, who just did things without thinking. It's a very difficult combination. So I want to be a thinker and I want my team to do the doing of what I'm thinking. So when you understand these competencies clearly, saying that this is mine and this is where I belong, man, the journey is amazing. It's an awesome journey until you see the future.
So, when you planning to go D2C, do you think that quick commerce and other marketplaces like Amazon will make a lot of value out of that? Like, do you think that is an opportunity in the future?
Absolutely. It has to be a double thank you moment. John Strozzle came up with this concept of double thank you moment, wherein every transaction you do will have to have a thank you from the other side as well. If you go to a Starbucks, for example, you ask for a coffee, you actually tell thank you because the coffee is good, right? You give him the money, that person says thank you. And when you take the coffee, you also say thank you. So Amazon or a Blinkit or any other platform should be happy hosting my products and just not one way around. They should be giving that extra edge to the consumer, saying that this is available in my portal, come over to mine. And that should be the double thank you moment I strike with every D2C marketplace in this case.
No, as we understand that Zepto and Bilkit, like this quick commerce, are built for India One. So, who is your biggest customer? India One, India Two, or India Three?
What is India 2?
India One, India Two, like it's about earning. This is divided based on the how much they are earning per capita. So India One are like the cream layer, who are like on like staying on the most of the urban regions. So those are India One with a salary or profit more than 1 lakh per month. India Two is between this.
Mine is India 2 clearly and India 3 because mass adaptation will never happen if you're not striking that segment. Uh, I am an aspiring artist, I would say, aspiring environmentalist as well as an aspiring artist. Banksy's words are an axiom for me. You know, Banksy is a graffiti artist in the UK and the New York. He once said, "Art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable." It's a very powerful statement, and it's an axiom right through after that. You know, comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. 90% of our country are the oppressed class, unfortunately, and we know that. It's just the 10% of them who pay the taxes and who are there running in cars in the cities whom we are exposed to. India is not that. India is the other 90% who don't have
Yeah.
that kind of money. So any kind of art that is created should first comfort them. And that same art should also discomfort the ones who are already comforted so far. So in my case, India 2 and India 3 is my place. Any kind of art which we have created, when I say I always represent the team in this case. Any kind of art which I have created should have the same tenet of having a mass appeal and creating that kind of impact overall. So it is India 2, India 3, and global wise, of course, anybody can adapt.
That's lovely. I admired your work. It was lovely talking to you, Cherish. The biggest thing is definitely the way you have turned sustainability into practical reality. That is beautiful. So, Cherish, if you have to leave one line of advice for founders balancing purpose and profit, what would it be?
The very fact that you have been told is something that has to be challenged. I'm a free thinker, rationalist. As long as you know that there is nothing else that drives you except for your will to survive and make a difference, nothing else is more beyond that. If you depend on anything else, geographical as well as above, if you know what I mean. Vis-a-vis, everything what is happening next to you is depending on your actions. So a shift from what you are otherwise thinking to what this kind of thinking can be the difference for the future. Your future is only dependent on your hands, kind of a thing, narrative you can put it through. But breaking away from the glass ceiling, what has been put in the past, and realizing the true sense of freedom by knowing that you are the curator of your future is the only advice I would give. I would not say advice, because for giving advice, Vineet, you need to have reached a particular place. I know I'm there in the journey to reach there, but it is an axiom which I am going with as a. Most of us are happy opening a Bisleri bottle or any kind of a bottle which is mineral water bottle, right? We like the noise that comes out of it, that truck noise, which gives the satisfaction that you're drinking safe water. What is the usual amount of time taken from the time you get that truck noise to the time you consume it? I'm asking you, Vineet. What do you think the usual amount of time taken is? 5 seconds? Yeah, couple of seconds. Now, let me give you a little bit of data around this. The phthalates and the other chemical soup that gets developed because of sunshine going through the LDPE and the PET, that is, and the phthalates gets developed and it stores itself in that space between the water and the cap. And the moment you have that turk noise, it takes a minimum of 10 seconds for it to vanish. And us, as of now, we consume it within 2 seconds, as you mentioned. So next time, give it that 10 seconds. It will make a lot of difference of how we see the world around us.
Oh, that's lovely. I will make sure that in the future I do follow that. Yeah, thank you. It was lovely. Cherish, thank you for sharing all the.
Or even better, just about it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I do that. Sure. So thank you, Cherish, for joining us today to D2C Stories. And today's episode was really very special. The way you have been creating the future green shows us the sustainability doesn't have to be tokenized or very like intimidating. It can be practical, beautiful, and scalable. I am sure our listeners today learned a lot, as I did. So thank you all for joining us. If you have learned something, do share this with your friends and groups so that this story can spread a lot.